A Southgate cabbie with a passion for the achievements of the Cuban Revolution is donating his London taxi to a museum in the Caribbean island's capital, Havana. Tony Cacavone, 70, of Conway Road, is sending his Cuban-themed cab to the Havana Motor Museum in the heart of Old Havana after 16 years of service, in which the hackney carriage has clocked up just under 400,000 miles. Mr. Cacavone has driven the black cab, which carries an advertisement for Cuban holidays and has the island's flag painted on the bonnet and roof, around the capital in an attempt to tell the other story about the island. He became interested in the nation when he picked up a Canadian tourist in 1995 who told him it was a popular destination for his countrymen and women. A year later, the cabbie and his late wife Christina flew on holiday to the island, which has been subject to a commercial, economic and financial embargo by the United States since 1960, after the US-backed Batista regime was deposed by the revolution led by Fidel Castro. When I got there, I got very angry about the poverty and lack of products in shops because of the embargo, he told the advertiser. But look at what the country has achieved despite it. More doctors per capita than any other country in the world, very low infant mortality rates, most of its lawyers and politicians are women, and there is no racism. Mr. Cacavone said that when he returned from that holiday, he went to the Cuban embassy in London, where he learnt about the Cuba Solidarity campaign and decided to paint the nation's colours on the cab. He added, "I wanted to tell the other side of the story. I have taken politicians, lawyers and diplomats around London and told them about the Cuban Revolution. I used to especially love driving around the American embassy. The museum will be the cab's final resting place, its spiritual home. My gift is a homage to the resilience of the Cuban people." In 1997, Mr. Cacavone shipped his cab to New York, where he led a convoy of more than 50 vehicles across the border with Canada in protest against the US embargo. The group flew to Cuba afterwards, and Mr. Cacavone met Castro, who thanked the taxi driver for his efforts. The taxi will be shipped to Havana next month. Mr. Cacavone, who has no plans to retire, is now driving a regular rented black cab.
A traditional farmers' market will open in Southgate next month. The King's Market will launch on Sunday, February the 2nd, with 15 stallholders initially offering a variety of fresh produce. Approval was given last month for stalls to be set up on the pavement in Ashfield Parade, and the organisers have since received a wave of applications from potential traders. The main traders have been selected, said market manager Anna Remigio. We have a butcher, fishmonger, fruit and vegetables, cheese, flowers and plants, natural juices, artisan bread and street food, including buffalo burgers. Anna, who is a trained nanny, began organising markets after attending craft fairs and selling her wares. In recent years, she has set up market stalls outside the Budgeon's supermarket in Crouch End, as well as the Enfield Island Village Markets and the indoor Cruise Hill Farmers Market. I wish I had more applications from people who are really local to Southgate, but you can't ask for producers to all live in the same place. But she hopes that the King's Market will have a wider benefit for the community. She added, if and when the market has made profit, then we will think about what we can do for the community. When that time comes, we will decide what to do. The King's Market will be taking place every Sunday between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m.
An Enfield councillor has been suspended from the Conservative Party following alleged anti-Islamic comments made last year on a social media site. Councillor Chris Joanides has had his membership at the party suspended, and he will now be investigated by the Conservative Party's National Board. Enfield Borough Council's Tory group withdrew the whip from the Range Ward representative in February 2013 for alleged anti-Islamic comments posted on his Facebook page. In a joke he posted on his page last year, Councillor Joanides compared Muslim burqas to dustbin bags and complained his job was getting in the way of his social life. However, earlier this month, Councillor Joanides was cleared by the Crown Prosecution Service, stating he did not break the law and will not face any criminal charges. Despite there being no legal wrongdoing, he now faces an investigation from the National Party's decision-making body. In a statement, Enfield Conservative Group leader, Councillor Michael Lavender, said, "I have been notified, as we had expected, that the Conservative Party Board has exercised its right to review the suitability of Councillor Joanides and has suspended Councillor Joanides' membership of the party. Last year, the Conservatives on Enfield Council acted swiftly and decisively to suspend and then remove the whip from Councillor Joanides after they determined his actions brought the party into disrepute. Such a decision is not taken lightly, and as expected, where questions about the suitability of a candidate are raised and challenged, the party will review the decision." Councillor Lavender said he welcomed the review, which is expected to take 5 weeks. He added, "We take a zero-tolerance approach to racism and believe all those who hold public office have a duty to promote respect, understanding and tolerance towards people of all faiths." Councillor Joanides was unable to be reached for comment before the Enfield Independent went to press.
Criminals found that there was no place to hide last week after a single day of police action saw a raft of arrests for serious offences. Police officers working with trading standards, community groups and the London Fire Brigade swooped on areas known for criminality and antisocial behaviour last Thursday, racking up a total of 13 arrests. Acting on intelligence from the community, officers made 4 drug-related arrests in Upper Edmonton. A simultaneous operation to clamp down on prostitution led to 1 person being arrested for soliciting. Police were also able to arrest an individual who was wanted for sexual offences after conducting inquiries in the area, identifying an address and heading there to arrest the suspect. A spokeswoman for Enfield Police told the Advertiser that, as a result of posting a large number of proactive officers to an area, officers were able to make 2 arrests for burglary, while 2 others were detained over offences relating to an assault. Police arrested a further 3 people for assisting an offender, theft, and in relation to a public order offence.
Councillors have granted community groups almost £65,000 to fund a series of projects as part of the latest round of Enfield Residents' Priority Fund allocations. At a meeting on Thursday, Enfield Council's ERPF Cabinet Subcommittee approved £64,985 worth of funding for 14 projects, bringing the amount which has been allocated to organisations since April to £1,420,647. The ERPF is a pot of money through which residents can apply to the council to fund projects that will benefit their area. A total of £220,419 is still available for projects if residents apply between now and the end of March. The projects last week's meeting agreed to fund include a van in Bowesward to collect bulky waste items, and providing English and Maths classes for the Bangladeshi community in Ponders End, as well as support for an arts trail and studio opening in Winchmore Hill and Southgate, respectively. The Edmonton Eagles Boxing Club, based in Montague Road, Edmonton, was granted £3,960 to provide boxing and sports sessions for families. Club President Penny Estatiu said, "Our family sessions are an opportunity for parents and children to do boxing together. which not only brings benefits in terms of exercise, but also allows parents to be part of a child's development. We want to provide opportunities for people in one of the most deprived areas in London, and the Residents' Priority Fund has been a great support for us. It is the second successful application for the Boxing Club, which received ERPF funding for a series of women's-only boxing classes last year. Bambus Charalombos, the Council's Cabinet Member for Culture, Leisure, Youth and Localism, said, "The new year has begun with a whole new raft of fantastic Enfield's Residents' Priority Fund projects. The fund goes from strength to strength, and last week's meeting confirmed that £65,000 worth of projects are going to go ahead and be funded thanks to its continued success."
A group of disabled adults will be staging 2 performances of their latest musical next week. Broken Silence, part of the Facefront Inclusive Theatre, will be performing Zap at the Dugdale Centre in London Road, Enfield Town, to raise awareness about the group. The play focuses on 2 teenage boys, Matthew and Stuart, who are too lazy to help their mum around the house. In desperation, she sends them back to the time of 1940 to see how bad things were during the Blitz and World War II. She's able to do this by using a time-travelling microwave. Although this leads to some hilarious moments, the play also has some sad ones. Director John French said the idea for the play came after the group started talking about history and the changes between now and then. Zap was created by the group and includes a number of original songs and movement pieces. Broken Silence is formed of 20 adults with a range of disabilities, including learning difficulties, mental health issues, or impaired mobility. The members are all unemployed and have often experienced prejudice in their lives. Facefront works with the groups to combat discrimination against disabled people throughout Enfield by using theatre as a positive tool to raise the equality of their lives. Mr. French insists that the group's first priority is always the drama. It is not run as a therapy. Obviously there are benefits, but it is run for people who want to get better at drama. Performances are taking place on Thursday, January the 30th at 1:15 p.m. and on Friday, January the 31st. Tickets cost £5 and can be bought online at www.dugdalecentre.co.uk or by calling the box office on 0208 807 6680.
2 popular independent shops in Enfield have closed. Gift shop Ruby Blue in Chaseside, Southgate, and kitchenware store Papillon in Winchmore Hill both shut their doors this month. The owner of Ruby Blue, Emma Chapman, blamed crippling business rates as one of the reasons for closure. She said, "We opened 2.5 years ago, and the business has been a real success, but the current economy, lack of parking, and the high rates that we have been paying have been too much. Landlords are not willing to negotiate the business rates, and suppliers have put their prices up." Enfield North MP Nick Dubois and Enfield Southgate MP David Burrows launched a campaign last month to urge Enfield Borough Council to help reduce the business rates paid by small businesses. A new government scheme is also set to be implemented in April this year, giving a £1,000 discount on business rates. However, the reduction will be too little, too late, for Miss Chapman, who believes the area is losing a community hub. She added many people, quite often the elderly, would come into the shop just to have a chat and see somebody different, even if they didn't buy anything. "I have been humbled by the amount of support I have received and hope people continue to shop locally, otherwise we will lose our sense of community." Martha Ferguson of Papillon in Green Lanes, who had run her shop for 3 years, said she decided to close for personal reasons.
As the wrecking ball dangles in front of a crumbling housing estate, the council looks set to approve the wholesale buyout of homeowners. The Alma estate in Ponders End, with its distinctive pastel-coloured tower blocks, is undergoing a facelift. The tower blocks are earmarked for demolition, and new homes are planned to replace the current decrepit housing. While some of the residents on the estate rent through private landlords or Enfield Council, other long-term residents own their own properties. In a bid to speed up the regeneration process, the local authorities cabinet will be asked to approve a compulsory purchase order at a meeting this week, allowing council chiefs to buy out residents whether they want to sell up to the council or not, freeing up the properties for the path of the bulldozers. Although fears have been raised in the past that those residents bought out might not be able to find another home elsewhere due to age, employment status, or their financial situation, the council member for housing stresses that those affected will receive a fair deal. Ahmed Oykena said that while the council was trying to come to a settlement with the leaseholders, if all negotiations and offers proved unsuccessful, the CPO powers mean the council could plough ahead with the scheme. He added, "We are also developing a framework for leaseholders, which will be helpful in our negotiations because it demonstrates that we are making every effort to be fair and offer support and information to leaseholders." Currently, only 35 of the 170 residential leases on the Alma estate have been bought. In a bid to allay fears that homeowners will be left worse off after being bought out, council chiefs are insisting that they will be offered 10% more than market value for their properties. Landlords who own properties on the estate will be offered 7.5% more than the market value. A typical 3-bedroom maisonette on the Alma estate is currently valued at £165,000. Sonia.
A Palmer's Green man has drawn inspiration from surviving the Holocaust to create art for a new exhibition in Enfield. Moshe Galili, 83, of St George's Road, Palmer's Green, is originally from Budapest in Hungary and used his teenage memories of surviving the Holocaust to tell his story. Mr. Galili was 14 when he and his family were taken from their home to star houses where only Jewish people lived. Speaking ahead of Monday's Holocaust Memorial Day, he said, "One day the police were coming around to take all the people in those houses away to Auschwitz. We were terrified, but we managed to find a key to the concierge's apartment and hid ourselves away amongst all the Jewish valuables he had stolen from us. The concierge didn't want the police to go in because they would know he was stealing everything. He let them in, but they could not see us amongst all the stolen goods. We were very lucky. Once they were gone, we managed to escape out of the house. My heart was beating so fast and the adrenaline was racing through me. The concierge shouted at us and told us to stop, but if the police had realised there were Jews in his apartment, he would have been shot too. We had a friend on the other side of Budapest and we went to her home. The woman gave us a piece of paper with her details on it. We had the names of her family and created a story that we were fugitives from Russia. That is how it stayed until we were liberated at the end of the war by the Russians. In the late 1960s, Mr. Galili moved to England with his Parisian wife Ruby and studied ceramic art. He said, "The historian David Irving, who doesn't believe in the Holocaust, is among the things that have inspired me to create my art, to show people the horrors that my family and I, as well as other Jews, have gone through." Mr. Galili's exhibition can currently be seen at the Dugdale Centre in London Road, Enfield Town, and is on show until February the 17th.
A new drop-in day to help people get healthier in Edmonton will be held this month. Angel Community Centre in Raynham Road, Upper Edmonton, will be the venue for the first drop-in day, which aims to give people the chance to have their say on health services in the borough. The event will also be offering free health checks for those aged between 40 and 74. It will be held on Tuesday, January 28th, between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m.
An Enfield primary school has signed up to a national scheme in a bid to cut down on childhood obesity. Eastfield Primary School in Eastfield Road, Enfield Wash, is taking part in the Change for Life campaign. The school will be putting on cookery classes and encouraging children to make smart swaps, such as crisps, for fruit. Head teacher Christella DeMille believes the initiative will help children and parents make healthier choices. She said, "This is a really big issue and we want to educate parents and children to make simple changes to their packed lunches, such as eating nutritious food instead of crisps. It is all about moderation, of course. We can't expect everyone to stop eating unhealthy food entirely." The campaign is not just aimed at diets, but will urge children to take part in more physical activity and growing their own foods. When asked about her overall goal, Ms. Jamil said that seeing a large percentage of her students changing their diets and exercising more would be the icing on the cake. She added, "We are putting on free after-school activities and we're making sure that pupils are doing more exercise in school hours. This is only the beginning and we will continue to tackle the issue." Councillor Christine Hamilton, Enfield Borough Council's Cabinet Member for Community Wellbeing and Public Health, visited the school to promote the scheme. She said, "Tackling childhood obesity is a very important priority and promoting a better diet will help us reduce the number of overweight or obese young people. We are asking families to think about replacing 1 or 2 unhealthy snacks with healthy options. Small changes can make a difference to how we look and feel about ourselves. For more information, go to smartswaps.changeforlife.co.uk.
Council chiefs have admitted they may have been overzealous in writing to football clubs to remind them about the spitting ban. Winchmore Hill FC Secretary Chris Langford told the Advertiser that the club had received a letter informing them that spitting anywhere in the borough was now an offence, punishable by prosecution, and that players should bear this in mind on the pitch. The Advertiser can reveal that clubs in the borough who use pitches owned by Enfield Council received identical missives. However, leading light of the anti-spitting movement and Cabinet Member for Environment, Chris Bond, insisted that the letter was meant as a polite reminder, not as a warning that players who spat out water or saliva in the middle of a football match would be slapped with a fine. He stressed that council officers will be using common sense to enforce the ban, and added, "We'll be clarifying our position with the football clubs, but there is no intention to prosecute anyone playing football or doing other exercise on our sports grounds." But a baffled Mr. Langford said that, regardless of intention, it would be almost impossible to police sportsmen on the pitch. "All I can say is, it's a good thing that the London Marathon doesn't run through Enfield," he added. "It is a filthy habit in the street and in parks when kids are around, but when sports are being played, it's very hard to control players on the pitch. When they have a mouthful of something, well, they're going to try to get rid of it." Yuck. On that delightful thought, I'll pass you over to Sonia for the next item.
Historic Enfield Gardens are a top-class attraction for visitors, according to tourist board Visit England. Middleton House Gardens in Balls Cross, Enfield, is hailed a quality-assured visitor attraction by the National Tourism Organisation. The gardens were made famous by Edward Augustus Bowles, one of the 20th century's greatest gardeners, and the 8-acre site has been restored in his style. Visit England's report praises the audio tour of the gardens, as well as the high standards of the museum. Lee Valley Regional Park Authority Chief Executive Sean Dawson said, "I'm delighted Middleton House Gardens has been stamped with approval by Visit England's Quality Scheme. This award demonstrates how well head gardener Andrew Turvey and his team have done in providing such an outstanding experience for our customers."
And on a jolly note, an Edmonton woman has celebrated her 100th birthday. Ivy Gifford was added to the list of centenarians in Enfield as she celebrated 100 years at St Aldham's Church in Windmill Road, Edmonton. The gathering was hosted by Silver Thread's Over 50s Club. Ms Gifford has lived in Edmonton all her life, and her brother, Charlie Withers, played left-back for Tottenham from 1947 to 1955, making more than 150 appearances.
We have reached the end of our programme for this week. Thank you for listening. So from the team of Jenny, Sonia, Anna and Alan, and Keith on the controls, it's goodbye.
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 Please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet. Put the